What's up, guys? Let's have an Idaho 4 discussion. Come on into the live chat. Let's have a discussion about this case. How much of a jacked up case it is. Let's have a discussion about it. Where do we begin? Where do we begin? I know. How about the drug connection? How about the timeline? What do we know so far about the drug connection? I honestly think the entire city of Moscow is being overrun by the cartel. That's what I think. Can somebody say cartel time? Let's see, cartels, sex trafficking, human trafficking, you name it, that's being done there in Moscow. Yeah, we do this for Zanny, Maddie, Ethan, Kaylee, and anybody else that's been involved with U of I. How about Hudson? How about Hannah? What do we know about Hudson? Poor guy drowned underneath, froze to death underneath the Paradise Valley Bridge. After he was what? Coming from a frat party. That's what I think. Poor Hudson died underneath the Paradise Valley Bridge. And why? Because he was drunk and coming from a party from Sigma Chi. And exactly what do we know really about Sigma Chi? What do we really know? Is there a bunch of trafficking going on through Sigma Chi? Nobody knows. Nobody's saying shit. What about Jack Showalter? I heard he got kicked out of the frat for potentially raping somebody and leaving a bunch of carcasses of dead animals. Now, we've all heard about the person leaving all those dead coyote carcasses on the fraternity doorsteps and the sorority doorsteps. Could Jack Showalter have left those coyote carcasses on the Pi Beta Phi and the Sigma Chi and the Alpha Phi? We don't know. I mean, he is a hunter, after all. What do we really know about Jack Showalter? Other than they called him the hoodie guy. What do we know about Jack D? Hey Kim, how you doing? Yeah, but see, here's the question, Kim. Exactly why did he do it? Was it to get back at the fraternity for kicking him out? Nobody knows that one, Kim. Nobody honestly knows exactly why he was kicked out of the frat. A lot of people say it's because he was a charged with SA. That's what some people say. Okay, thank you, Kim. What do you think about this timeline, Kim? The whole 4 a.m. timeline. Do you think that timeline is bunk? I think it's bunk. I honestly think that the original timeline of the murder was between 2 and 3:15. That's when I think the murder happened, between 2 a.m. and 3:15 a.m. That's when I honestly believe the murders happened. No, I don't. If he was guilty, do you really think he would be sitting there looking terrified? The poor guy, every time they show a picture of him sitting next to Ann Taylor, he looks terrified. Well, that was a drug house. Maybe he came by to score some drugs, because he did have a history of migraines. Maybe he thought if he came by to get some drugs, it would help him with his migraine. And then he saw all those people standing out front, so he took off. Just like that Hyundai Elantra that they said that was driving down past the mobile gas station. That didn't look like a Hyundai Elantra. That did not look like a Hyundai Elantra at all. Well, what do you think about it, Kim? Go ahead. Oh, we're all a little crazy up in here. I used to listen to T Rev all the time. He's the one that turned me on to Drip Drop. People watching, more the merrier. Come into the chat. I think this timeline is bunk. I do. I think Dylan and Bethany are sus. Two uncredible witnesses. That took 8 hours to get their story straight. Yeah, I think the reason why they took 8 fucking hours was so everybody could get their story straight. That's what I believe. Everybody just needed to get their story straight in this freaking case. Why wait 8 hours to call 911? And you have the spokesman for Pi Beta Phi, and the spokesman for Alpha Phi, and the spokesperson for Sigma Chi, all in all at the fucking house that morning. Well, if she recorded the whole deal, then they would have found it in the data download they did on her phone. That's the way I see it. If she did the shit, then they would be on her phone when they did the data download of her and Bethany's phones. Apparently, Bethany went off grid. Yeah, 8 hours to hide shit. That's the way I see it. Oh, I was in a frozen shock phase for 8 hours. No, you weren't, because you were texting every roommate in the house. As soon as you saw the killer, you went back in your room, locked the door, and started texting everybody in the house. And when Bethany was the only one that responded, that should have been an instantaneous. I better call 911. No one else was responding. Instead of waking up and the entire town knew about the murders at 8:30 in the morning. The entire town. The entire fucking town knew. Why didn't the cops know? Oh wait, we gotta get our drugs out of the house before the cops show up. That's the way I see it. Oh yeah, Kim, I know. I know. You can smell blood a mile away. So how come Dylan and Bethany didn't smell the blood? If you could smell blood a mile away, why didn't Dylan and Bethany smell the blood? Because there's going to be a stench coming off the bodies. There's going to be a stench of blood. And however much blood was in that house that morning, oh, God. The smell had to be bad in that house that morning with 4 people, you know, blood out, that bled out. And 2 of the people that bled out was on the same floor as Dylan. So the smell of that blood. Oh God, it must have reeked. It must have reeked in that house. But no, we're not going to call the cops. We're going to wait till noon to call the cops. Yeah, that's a good question, guys. Why was the front door to the house left open? Was it to air out the house? Was the stench of blood that bad in the house that Bethany and Dylan had to leave the door open to get the smell out? I mean, yeah, it had to be that bad. That fucking bad to leave the door open to the house. Yeah, they leave the door open to the house just to get the stench of blood out. I do believe that one, Kim. I do believe that one. And then you have Ann Taylor stating, you have Ann Taylor stating the PCA is full of holes and full of inconsistencies. I tend to believe Ann Taylor on this one. If Ann Taylor, who's a defense attorney, said that the PCA is full of inconsistencies and holes, guys, I tend to believe her. Because nothing in this case matters except for suspect vehicle 1. That's the only thing that matters to them, is suspect vehicle 1. Even though you look at it from 254 to 315, all that activity around the house, that Banfield, and then you got a glimpse of 405 people, either fast walking or running away from the house, because it was caught on the body cam of the undercover cop. I think that alcohol call was a deterrent, was a distraction to keep the cops busy on what was going on with the house. That's what I believe. When they wrote what, Kim? When they wrote the PCA? Yeah, I thoroughly and honest believe that. Oh, they wrote the PCA. I think it was the same day as the murders. Guys, can you help me out here? What day did they write the PCA? Was it the same day as the murders, or was it the next day? Kim French would like to know. Was it the same day as the murders, or was it the next day? I think now don't quote me on this. But I think they did the PCA either the same day as the murders or the next day. I mean, it could have been a couple of days after the murders. I'm not sure about that one, Kim. Come on, guys, come in the chat. Help me and Kim figure this out. She's wanting to know what day they wrote the PCA. I'm thinking this was either the same day or the next day. It could have been a couple of days after that. I know Brett Payne's a crooked son of a bitch. I cannot stand Brett Payne. I wish I wish Brett Payne would just go away. Like I wish Brett Payne would either get transferred out or retire. Because he's shady as fuck. And you have those MPD all the way up until the murder guys, they were harassing those kids for all the little petty shit, noise complaint, noise complaint. They were out at that house for noise complaints. And it seemed like it was every other night or every night. They were harassing them, threatening them with the Greek council, threatening them with the dean, threatening them with this, threatening them with that. It almost felt like they were trying to keep them in line. Especially when that one cop took a picture of Maddie's wallet, or not Maddie, took a picture of Kaylee's driver's license. What the fuck was up with that? Why did he low key take a picture of Kaylee's driver's license? That's kind of creepy shit right there. That was. That was some creepy fucking shit right there. I mean, being a cop, what would make you take a picture of somebody's ID that wasn't doing nothing wrong because you came out for a quote unquote noise complaint? He asked to see her ID. She gave him her ID and he was looking at it, and then he snapped a picture of it, and the look on her face. She gave him the creep, that like he was a creeper, like the creeper vibe look. And that was almost a nightly thing at that house. You would have a you would have Xana who was harassed by the MPD, namely Brett Payne. You would have what look I believe it was Hunter Johnson and his friend who was out there talking to the cops. And that one kind of heavyset bald cop said said, "This is a sorority house. I've been a police officer for 22 years. Don't yeah, I'm not stupid. Don't make me call the Greek council. Don't make me get a hold of the dean." And then threatening to yeah, the girl that answered the door looked like Bethany. She looked like Bethany. Someone said it was Hunter Johnson's girlfriend, but it looked like Bethany. Hold on a minute. It looked like Bethany. To me, it looked like Bethany. I could be wrong here, guys. Someone please tell me in the chat if I'm wrong. But that blonde that answered the door looked like Bethany. Someone I was talking to the other day said they thought it was Hunter Johnson's girlfriend who answered the door. I didn't know Hunter Johnson's girlfriend and Bethany looked alike. I really didn't. And then you have that heavyset cop threatening to arrest everyone in the house and charge them with what do you say? Breaking and entering, because none of the quote unquote tenants were home. So he was going to arrest them all for breaking and entering. And then they gave that cop Maddie's phone number. And it was Brett Payne who called Maddie that night. And then, like a couple more nights went by, they came back out. You could see Dylan up on the hill walking back into the house with her, well, I think it was with her boyfriend. And then a cop going, "Stupid fucking kids." They legit harassed those kids out there. Like legit, they harassed them. Stupid fucking kids. How about stupid fucking cops? I don't like it. I don't like it when cops abuse their power. And it just seems like all the cops in Moscow abuse their power. I'm sorry, it does. It makes I feel like all the cops in Moscow abuse their power. I feel like the prosecutor out there abuses his power. I feel like the coroner abuses her power. Even the judge. Judge John Judge, I feel like he abuses his power. Because guys, if you look at it, everyone in that courtroom is a alumni of the U of I. Everybody except for Koberger. Every one of them went to the University of Idaho. Ann Taylor, John Judge, the prosecutor, the coroner, they all went to the University of Idaho. John Judge's wife is a professor at the University of Idaho. The coroner is a professor of law at the University of Idaho. Koberger is surrounded by piranhas. He's surrounded by sharks. And he don't know it. He don't know it. Or if he does know it, he's blissfully ignorant. Every time I see a picture of Koberger sitting in that chair next to Ann Taylor, he looks terrified. He looks terrified. Every time I see him sitting in that chair next to Ann Taylor, he sits there like this. He knows, guys, he knows he's the sacrificial lamb. He knows that. You can tell it just by the way he sits in his chair. And he either looks straight ahead or he'll turn and talk to Ann Taylor. But he looks fucking terrified. He really does. He looks fucking terrified. And if the lethal injection doesn't kill him, the firing squad will. The University of Idaho now has the firing squad as default death penalty. You don't think Brian knows that? You don't think Brian knows that? Brian knows what's going on. Just like when he was up there in Pennsylvania and he made the statement, I can't wait to be exonerated. Because he knows he did nothing wrong. But see, here's the thing, guys. Here's the thing. You have two living with you have two surviving roommates, Dylan Mortensen and Bethany Funk. Bethany didn't hear anything that night, supposedly, or allegedly, she didn't hear anything that night because her room basically is right below the bathroom. And then you have Dylan, who opened her door, guys, who opened her door 3 times that night. 3. The first time was to get on to the roommates for being loud because she was trying to sleep. The second time she opened her door, she heard Xana crying and a male voice going, "It's okay, I'm going to help you." So she shut her door because she thought possibly that might have been Ethan. Well, a little bit before that, she heard what she thought was the sound of Kaylee going, "There's somebody here." And then she heard what sounded like Kaylee playing with her dog Murphy, in one of the third floor rooms. Kaylee wasn't living there. She was staying there off and on, yes, but her parents, Steve and Christy, have already done stated that she was living with them. And the only reason why she went back to that house that weekend was to visit her best friend / sister, Maddie. And she wanted to show Maddie her new Range Rover. That was the only reason why she went back. See, but here's the odd thing. I've heard a lot about her being invited as Dylan's plus one to a sorority party. If she was Dylan's plus one at a sorority party at Pi Beta Phi, then why was Maddie and Kaylee at Corner Club? And Ethan and Xana and Bethany over at Sigma Chi? And why? Oh, why was Dylan's whereabouts unconfirmed that night? Her timeline was unconfirmed. Her whereabouts the night of the murders was unknown until 1 a.m. Did she go to that quote unquote sorority party by herself? Or did she use that sorority party line to get Kaylee back to the house? Because Dylan knew what was going to happen that night. And she used that whole plus one to get Kaylee back to the house. I think Dylan is more involved than what she's letting on. I really do. I think she's more involved in this whole thing than she's letting on. Because earlier today, I researched frozen shock phase. Frozen shock phase, guys, doesn't last 8 hours. Frozen shock phase lasts between 2 and 4 hours. You have the frozen shock phase, which lasts 2 hours, and then you have what they called recognition phase. They call it the recognition phase after the frozen shock phase, which only lasts 2 hours. And then after then the recognition phase lasts an hour. And then what they call the calming down phase lasts an additional hour to hour and a half. Yeah. We are being lied to straight to our face. Why? Please explain this to me, guys. Why is this prosecutor sealing everything? I'm pretty sure if he could, he would seal that freaking desk that he's sitting at. Ann Taylor filed on the 1st of February motion to change venue because, according to Ann Taylor, the jury pool there in Moscow is corrupted. She said that her client cannot receive a fair trial there in Latah County. And I agree with her 100%. So she's wanting to have the trial moved to a different venue. But where? Where would she have the trial moved to? Everybody knows about this case. Everybody. It's global. It's on Facebook. It's in Facebook groups. It's in Instagram groups, TikTok, the news, here on YouTube. This case, guys, is everywhere. And she wants to do a change of venue. More power to her. I don't know where she would want to move this trial to, unless she moves it to Boise, like with the Chad Daybell case, which they moved to Boise, along with his wife Lori Vallow Daybell. And she filed a motion on behalf of her client, on behalf of Brian, to have their DNA experts, guys, to look at the IgG. But Brian is wanting more than just the 3 DNA experts to take a look at the IgG. He wants his defense team, Ann Taylor and another person, to look at the IgG. He's wanting the defense investigators to look at the IgG. He's wanting his entire defense team to look at this IgG. And Ann Taylor's wanting to look at it too, so she can know why they picked Mr. Koberger out. She wants to know the reason why they think he did it. Hey, Rodney, you're about at 45 minutes late. Ann Taylor wants to wants to go back 3 generations of his genealogy. She wants to tell his story, Brian's story. And she claims she has over 400 character witnesses. Oh, that's okay, Rodney. But personally, guys, there could. I'm not saying he did do it. I'm not saying he didn't do it. But what I am saying is he's innocent until proven guilty. But with all the corruption going on in that fucking city, look at the timeline. And not the 4 a.m. timeline. Not the 4 a.m. timeline. From 2:54 to 3:15. You had all that activity around the house. You had Banfield. You had the cops stopping those guys on Banfield. You had on the body cam, you could see like 4 or 5 people running away from the freaking house at 3:15. And then at 2:42 a.m. you could hear, yes, Rodney, at 2:42 a.m. on the Linda Lane footage, you could hear screaming, crying, and someone yelling for help at 2:42 a.m. And then from then on, silence. But guys, this timeline doesn't matter to Brett Payne. This timeline doesn't to Brett Payne. The only thing that matters, guys, the only thing that matters is suspect vehicle 1 coming into the scene at 3:29. According to Brett Payne, that's the only thing that matters. Is suspect vehicle 1 coming into the area at 3:29. The timeline is bullshit. Dylan is bullshit. And Brett Payne wouldn't know how to investigate his way out of a wet paper bag. There's 4 dead college students. Guys, there are 4 dead college students. And what are we not being told? I mean it, guys. What are we not being told? We in the true crime community, guys, we do this for the Idaho 4. We do this for justice, for Kaylee, for Maddie, for Xana, and for Ethan. Those are the 4 names that we do this for. Kaylee, Maddie, Xana, and Ethan. Because, guys, they don't have a voice anymore. Because because of the corruption in that town. Those four innocent souls don't have a voice no more. Bethany, she went off grid. She can't be tracked anymore. She's already made the statement that she's not coming back to Idaho for anything because she thinks that there's a obstruction of justice charge against her, and there very well could be an obstruction of justice charge against Bethany because you have two surviving roommates, okay? And now, don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking the roommates. I'm not. You have two surviving roommates who didn't call 911 for 8 hours. And then in the Idaho Judicial Code, that is a obstruction of justice charge, which is a felony. Hey, Kayla. You have in the Idaho Code obstruction of justice, which means if you do not call 911, if there was a heinous crime that took place in the Idaho Judicial Code, if there was a heinous crime that took place and you didn't call 911 for 4 or more hours, they can slap you with a obstruction of justice charge. And I believe that's why Bethany doesn't want to come back to Idaho. She's in Nevada right now, and she's living off the grid. You know, you can't track Bethany anymore, Kayla. Don't you find that kind of odd? You can't track Bethany no more. And she's already made the statement, guys. She's made the statement. She does not want to take part in the trial. She does not want to testify for Brian. She does not want to testify for the prosecution because, quote unquote, I saw nothing that night. Oh, but Dylan, I got this confirmed, Kayla. You're going to like this. Dylan was spotted on the U of I Pi Beta Phi sorority grounds. Dylan has been living with her parents, and according to her dad, quote unquote, she's become a social recluse. She is suffering from tremendous survivor's guilt to the point, yeah, according to Dylan's dad, Kayla, she is suffering from tremendous survivor's guilt. She's become a social recluse. The only time that she's ever came out of her room, oh, and she's playing video games now, Kayla. That's how she copes, is by playing video games. The only time she comes out of her room is she came out one time to go for a jog. And her dad said that she went to Pi Beta Phi, a party for Pi Beta Phi, on the grounds of the U of I. And no, I don't think it was Halloween, Bethany. I mean, Kayla, I'm sorry. I don't think it was Halloween. It was some other function that the Pi Beta Phi was doing. But yeah, she's back partying at the U of I. She doesn't go to the U of I don't think. But she's back. She's back with Pi Beta Phi partying on the U of I campus. Last thing I heard, she has she either switched colleges because she's been living with her parents. Oh, she was Pi Beta Phi, Kayla. She was like legit. She was Pi Beta Phi. I got some corroborations on that too, Kayla. She was Pi Beta Phi. Xana was Pi Beta Phi. Maddie was Pi Beta Phi. Dylan was Pi Beta Phi. And Bethany was Pi Beta Phi. And Kaylee was Alpha Phi. Yeah, Kaylee was a different one, Kayla. She was Alpha Phi. But Kayla, this whole corruption bullshit is really starting to irritate me. What about you, Rodney? I don't like this whole corruption bullshit going on. You're welcome, Kayla. Kayla, have you ever looked at Brian when he's sitting there? Doesn't he look terrified? 'Cause every time, Kayla, every time I look at Brian, he's sitting there like this. When he's not sitting there like this, he's like just kind of looking at his attorney. I don't know if his family's being threatened, Kayla. Yeah, it is very mentally draining on how corrupted it is. Yeah, and Kayla, I talked to Tommy today too in email. He said the next time, he said that what I got to look for is when it says True Crime Live Chat. He said that would be my cue. It's a go for me to come on panel. Yeah, Yeah, Kayla. Tommy's a really nice guy. I like Tommy Jude. He told me to keep looking. He told me whenever I see in big letters "True Crime Live Chat," he said that means it's a go and I can come on panel. Yeah, I like Tommy, Kayla. He gave me some good advice today too. He said it's okay to. He said it's okay to like share videos of other content creators once in a while. Uh, he said he did that when he first started out. He said still does it somewhat, but he said it would also be good to start getting live shows out there too. So this is one of my live shows, Kayla. Well, actually, no, I've been holding a live show for what, like the last 3 days. Two of them went on. One went what 5 hours, another went 4 hours, and then the night before last went 3.5 hours. Yeah, I think I need to keep my lives like down to like an hour to 2 hours, not four, 5, 4, and 3. But yeah, Brett Payne gets under my fucking skin. Just like Ann Taylor said in that hearing on the 26th, the PCA is full of holes. Kayla. Ann Taylor said the PCA is full of holes. It has inconsistencies in it as well. Are you subbed up to my channel, Kayla? It should tell you then. I sent out a YouTube short saying for everyone who wants to come and hang out and talk about the Idaho 4 case, come to my live chat. Yeah, that's kind of weird. You know, me and Tommy, we like our cigarettes. Yeah, well, don't use three different devices. When you sub to my channel, use one device. Tomorrow sometime, um, me and Pia is supposed to be doing a panel. Well, Kayla, if you catch me and Pia, uh, if you catch me and Pia live tomorrow, you can come on panel then if you want to. We're going live off of StreamYard. Yeah, I just gotta get the whole video editing thing down. I think that's why I think that's why I use you know other content creator stuff is because I need to get down my video editing as well. You don't have a proper EQ. Well, that's good to know, Rodney. Phone, tablet, and TV. Well, hey, Kayla, Kia, Kayla. I do all this stuff off of a laptop. I eventually want to get an actual gaming computer. So you're watching me on your TV, huh? Yeah, I want to get me a gaming computer eventually, so I can so I can retire the laptop. Yeah, the laptop's going to my wife. I told her if I get me a better setup computer wise. Yeah, Kayla, this was a present. This right here was a present from my wife I got tired of sitting at the kitchen table going in the little webcam up there. So I got the web. So I got this now, and my wife got me this. Can't move it. It's a stream deck. That's how I do those voices on the voice changer, and it's got effects on it and everything. Yeah, she knew I needed it. Yeah, I was talking to a friend of mine today. I was texting him, and he blew up to me. He goes, he goes, he goes. He said, unlike you, I have a job. I said, I have a job too. It's called YouTube, and and he goes, I predict. He said, I predicted you'd sell. He said, I predicted you'd sell out to YouTube. I'm sorry, guys. I like what I do on here. And on the 26th of this month, I get my first payment from YouTube. Yeah, I know. I've had him on my channel once. Well, no, twice. Uh, the first time was about 4 months ago, and the second time was about 2 weeks ago. And he just doesn't get this whole uh true crime community. Yeah, he thinks it's all conspiracy theories, and he just doesn't get it. And he told me this was before I got this right here. And he told me he goes so, he said so. Yeah, I know. And I told him that, and he goes, well, yeah. And he told me, well, in my opinion, yeah, yeah. And I told him that, Kaylee. He goes, well, in my opinion, the guy is guilty. He did it. He needs to fry. Is what he said. Yeah, I know, Kayla. I know. You're only 2 years older than me, Rodney. Yeah, I know, Kayla. Th- Uh, this is all for Kaylee, Maddie, Xana, and Ethan. That's why I do this. That's why Pia does it. That's why Tommy does it. That's why Cleminati does it. And did I tell you what AR Hayes said to me in the comment today? Really nice comment too. Here, let me pull it up and I'll read it to you. Let me find it again. Um, he made the comment. Yeah, he said I wish you the best. He said I wish you the best of luck on your channel. And he said from the way I see it, he said it looks like you're doing good. Yeah, it was a really nice comment from AR Hayes, Kayla. Yeah, I like AR Hayes. It's okay. I'm gonna be getting off here soon too. So, have you ever met Bret Hart, Kayla? Yeah, the next time I go live, Kayla, I'll make sure. Yeah, I'll make sure I'll find a. What do you mean? Ew, nope. The next time I go live, Kayla, I'll make sure I'll find a comment that you commented on, and I'll send you a comment that I'm going live. Just make sure you comment on one of my videos, Kayla, so I can find you. I will, Kayla. Thank you. All right, Kayla. You have a good night, Rodney. I will, Kayla. All right, guys. You have a good night, and I'll try to post a video sometime tomorrow. You're welcome, brother. Have a good night, guys. Peace.
Thank you for tuning in to the True Crime Cult. Peace. Ha 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 ha.